Hey, what's happening, party people? Matthew Bellman, Ryan Kostrowski here. This is the DFS 5-pack. Clearly, DFS is not a thing, so we're talking year-long fantasy football. Unless you want to drop some hot knowledge on the people, Bellman, about KBO.
No, and unfortunately, LOL is out of commission for like a month. Teams and leagues are on a break, so I'll be getting a lot more sleep at least.
Well, there you go, guys. I know somebody asked me the other day if you were going to start talking Korean baseball because I think they saw you in the bigger money contest or something.
Maybe.
Maybe. It's possible. It could have happened. It sounds like you.
It could have happened. Yeah, I've been dabbling a little bit because there's nothing else going on. But nothing too crazy. I've probably played 3 nights total up out of the whatever week or so it's been. So
we're all struggling to keep ourselves entertained. I've actually been tracking the number of movies I watch, and I've watched almost just the ones I can remember, 60 movies since quarantine started.
Wow, that's nutty.
It is, but you're like, oh, that's what, one a day or something like that? I'm like, yeah, but there are days where I watch 3 movies because there's just nothing to do. You know, you're not working, you can't get out of the house too much. I feel like a lot of people in America are just telling quarantine and coronavirus to F off at this point. So unfortunately, we might just get like another wave. I'm hoping this is the start of good things to come, but God, it's scary to think we could be in this for a while.
Same, all the way around. I agree.
So again, guys, check out show sponsor Overlay Fantasy Sports. We won't get into too many details right now because there's not a lot of details to talk over. But for those of you checking out this video closer to the football season, we should have some contests up and running. In the meantime, Bellman chose a great pick right here to go over, which is Cam Akers, running back coming out of Florida State, going to the Rams. I actually listened to a little breakdown of him earlier today. So I'm glad we brought this one up, or I'm glad you brought this one up because I think it's a good one to talk about.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on Cam Akers this year, so I'm excited to break him down, talk him over with you, see what your thoughts are. Yeah, so let's do this.
I'm with it, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new to it. Hit that bell for notifications. For those of y'all who are nice enough to give the thumbs up, it is sincerely appreciated. And what's different with the Rams this year? So obviously, Coach Sean McVay's been there for a hot minute now, so that's the same thing. But they brought in first-year new coordinator, Kevin O'Connell. Do you know much about him?
No, I don't. I don't want to speak on him too much because I really don't. How about you?
Same here. I'll keep his name out my mouth because I don't know enough about him to talk about him with any kind of great detail. I have to assume that McVay's fingerprints and blueprint will still be all over this team, so I can't imagine it changes culture there too much.
Agreed.
All right, guys. As far as injury concerns go, looks like Akers didn't really miss much time in college, so I don't see anything. If there's something I don't know about, please fill me in, but it seems to me like injury concerns is nothing I have with this guy.
Yeah, I have no injury concern at all. I'm excited for what he can do his first year in a pro offense. So, yeah, no injury concern for me at least.
All right. As you said, first year in a pro offense. He played 12, and 11 games collectively through 3 seasons in Florida, and he seemed to run the ball effectively. Got at least 160 rushing attempts in all 3 seasons, and he seemed to be solid within the receiving game. The other 2 running backs for the Rams, Henderson and Brown, don't have much prowess within the receiving game. So I think one of the things, just again, taking the common sense approach to like about this is it seems like he could probably step in to be the 3rd down back right away.
For sure. So I'm glad we're looking at his college numbers because his college numbers aren't that good. They're not amazing. They're not what you expect from like a top tier running back. Cam Akers was the top running back recruit in his class, like a 5-star, top 10 overall type of guy. He ran behind a really bad offensive line at Florida State. Florida State has not been very good for the past few years. Horrendous O-line. The fact that he put up, 1,000 yards in 2 of the years and close to 800 in the other is a testament to how good he is. I think this guy's going to be much better in the pros than in college. We've talked a bunch recently about how these teams value their picks. When you look at a guy in the 2nd round, you really want the guy to step in right away and potentially be that guy. And Cam Akers, it looks to be a guy that I think could really break out in his first year because something you've talked about is that running back can just come in right away and have a big-time role.
Especially when you might already be the best pass-catching running back on your team right now. That's big for him. So I'm glad you brought up the offensive line at Florida State and why it was not great because a lot of times when you see these running back stars in college, they're averaging like 7 yards a carry, and he's down there about 5 throughout his career. So that's a good reason to think that he could be a better in a pro-style system and better for a team with maybe a better offensive line. So there's a lot to be encouraged about right there. The flip side of that would be Jonathan Taylor, whose college numbers absolutely trounce Akers. But Wisconsin every single year is at one of, if not the best places to run the football from an offensive line perspective. So there are ways to get deeper into this. Thank you for some of that information because it's all encouraging looking for a spot with the Rams this year.
Yeah, and the other thing about it, you mentioned the Rams a couple times. The Rams have lost some pieces, no doubt about it. But the Rams also were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago behind a really good running game. So I think Akers has big-time upside. I do.
And if you're a Sean McVay believer and didn't love what happened last year, this to me is kind of a put up or shut up season for him. And, all the allure that went to him 2 years ago, and then he embarrassed himself in the Super Bowl last year, did not work out. This is a good year for him to be. Not that, I'm a firm believer that guys like him are motivated every day, but I know for somebody like yourself, this is a big season for Sean McVay.
Put up or shut up.
Exactly. So that's a good thing right here. And Sean McVay wants to run the football. He was very reticent to give big miles to Gurley last year. Nothing about Henderson or Brown moves the needle, so became a little bit more pass happy than, which he does from time to time, but a little bit more pass happy than he probably wants to be.
No doubt about it.
All right, so you mentioned some of the additions and loss. Well, the big one's Todd Gurley's gone. That's why they felt the need to go out and draft Akers. They lost Brandon Cooks, but they're still very solid at wide receiver. With Robert Woods, who I'm a big fan of, Cooper Kupp, who I'm also a fan of. And then what do you know about this kid Van Jefferson that they grabbed at their other second-round pick?
Solid. I think he's a guy that potentially can come in and be that third wideout right away. They also have that guy Josh Reynolds who could potentially step in and be that guy. So I think they're fine there.
Yeah, this team still has offensive weapons, and what your belief is on Jared Goff, that's something that we can bring up for a different video. But Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, when Brandon Cooks is running at all cylinders, this is like one of the best receiving cores in football. Now, they're no longer one of the top 3 or 4 receiving cores, but these guys can both play. They're not suffering at wide receiver the way the Packers were when Adams was hurt or the way the Patriots did when Edelman was banged up.
Agreed. It's solid. It's not like an all-star studded cast when Gurley was like at his peak.
Yeah.
They had Gurley who was at his peak. But if Cam Akers can be like really good, that offense could be a lot better than it was last year.
For sure. Again, nobody's going to confuse this for Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce, right? We're not trying to say that. It's just saying that this is not a team that's weak at wide receiver.
No, they're solid at wide receiver. They have a better than average 1 and 2 in Woods and Kupp.
Yeah, agreed. They lost their kicker. That doesn't have much to do with anything. And again, no major changes outside of that. It's just a bigger season for the Rams coming off the Super Bowl loss for last year to, again, put up or shut up. Other things to talk about right here, we've kind of mentioned Malcolm Brown and Darrell Henderson these are guys. They remind me of Jamal Williams and the Green Bay Packers. Like, they're there. They're sufficient. They can do their role, but they are not lead back type of fellas. As long as Akers comes in and has a solid training camp, what we get of it, I expect him to be the man.
I expect him to be the man too. I know Henderson has got that elusive type, so I wouldn't be surprised if they start getting him more acclimated in the passing game. But I think Akers is going to be the guy. Henderson's not a guy that can, carry the load. Akers is. Akers was built for that.
Perfect, man. So you could potentially see this guy with 20 touches per game, maybe come, if he's playing well and things work out well, I wouldn't be shocked to see him with 20 touches a game. Right now, his ADP is kind of ranked somewhere between 55 and 75 overall, looking to be between running back 25 and 35 taken off the board. I saw him mostly down in the mid to late 20s, so 35 might be on the low end of that. Again, not a lot of fear that Brown or Henderson come in as kind of the workhorse mold. Probably the way they envisioned is give the ball to Akers, use Henderson as a change of pace guy, and then Brown's kind of your backup when needed.
Exactly. I 100% agree with that. It's what they want it to be. I love him here. I think that, I'm tempted to say that I think he's the best rookie running back this year. I know that Edwards-Helaire is in a much better spot and could catch a lot of balls, but Akers could be the focal point of this offense. I thought about taking Akers over Edwards-Helaire. I like Akers a lot this year.
So this is a spot where, with me not being a big college football guy, I can't sit here and tell you that I've watched the eye test to any of these young fellas. The only rookie running back I have much film on is going to be Jonathan Taylor, simply because I do watch the Badgers from time to time. So I can't tell you guys a lot about Akers from that perspective. I like the spot for him, though. And you talked about whether it's Taylor or Edwards or any of these guys, I feel pretty comfortable Akers is the guy with the safest route to getting heavy workload.
Yeah, I mean, he is that guy. This is another example. I used a early or a second round pick on him, an early round pick on him. I think that I think they want him to be the guy, no doubt about it.
And we look at these other rookies, like, I don't know if y'all remember this. Just go back a couple of months to the playoffs. Damian Williams balled for the Kansas City Chiefs. And they may make a pick, and they may want him to be the man. That doesn't mean Damian Williams doesn't want to come in and be the man. He had some injuries last year, but he was effective when given the opportunity. Marlon Mack, he's not a stud, but is a solid running back. Could easily split times with Jonathan Taylor, and maybe he could potentially outplay him. We've seen Marlon Mack with big games in the past. You look at A.J. Dillon drafted by my Green Bay Packers. Like, I think it's possible he has a real nice season. I also know that Aaron Jones is good. I look at Akers as the guy who has got the easiest path to 20 touches per game, and he's not getting talked about because maybe he didn't jump off the screen to those of you who watch college football. And as boss man Bellman over there brought up, he played behind a very bad offensive line.
I'm about it. I agree with that entire assessment.
Awesome, guys. So I like when we agree on things like this because I think he's a guy who's got potential top 10 running back situation. Maybe he's not a top 10 talent yet, but the situation, top 10 talent brings him down to maybe 12th and 13th overall, and maybe he's even better than we realize. This guy's got a good spot to be, I think.
I agree. I'm 100% with you. I like him quite a bit. Again, another example of you've talked about it a lot. You can step in right away if you're productive as a running back. I expect that. I'm definitely buying him this year.
Now, I'm not normally a guy who goes in on rookie running backs.
But just to make a point on that point, he's not a guy that's like getting a ton of buzz, as evidenced by the 25 to 35 ADP, for running backs. Taylor and Edwards-Helaire are getting a lot more buzz, and I think Akers has a better rookie year than either of them.
Yeah, I am. This is a guy I could definitely get on board with. Who was the guy that the Chargers drafted? I want to say in the first round to be their running back like 10 years ago.
Ryan Matthews.
Thank you. I was thinking about him earlier today, and I forgot to go back and look him up, and just never amounted to anything. I remember wasting a first or second round pick on him, thinking he would step in and be, fantastic in that role. It just never came to fruition. It was a complete letdown. And since then, I felt like I paid extra special attention to rookie running backs. Just a lot of times it doesn't work out. Look at a guy like Derrick Henry. He was terrible his rookie year, and now he's, potentially the best runner of the football in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things have to work out. Akers has a lot of things lined up for him. It doesn't mean he's going to have a good year, but you talked about the advantages he has over the other running backs, and you got to like that.
Yeah, I'm way more likely to grab him in the 5th or 6th round than I am to grab Clyde in the 3rd or 2nd round.
Same.
So, not that I don't think he couldn't be good, and maybe you like him more, and maybe you love the fact that he plays for a high-powered offense in Kansas City, but this is a guy that I was listening to this gentleman talk about rookie running backs for about an hour. He broke down 5 of them. He really put a lot of thought and effort into it. And he really had me giving a much closer look to Akers, so I was pretty pumped when you brought him up today.
Awesome. I love when it works hand in hand like that because, man, we see this one eye to eye. So we're definitely going to – hopefully you forget about this by the time our draft comes around.
Yeah, I won't. That piggybacks off a point I started to bring up earlier today, which is I like safety in the first few rounds, which is why you try to stay away from some of these running backs going in rounds 2, 3, and 4. But then when you dip down in round 5 or 6, now we start playing for upside, and Akers offers that.
No doubt about it.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button, subscribe to the station if you are new to it. We appreciate y'all watching us, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, guys.